Good morning, CSL. Welcome to this fourth Sunday in May where we are focusing on the theme Authentic Me. And so we're going to talk about creating an authentic life and what that means to live an authentic life. And I have some things to share with you about that today. First, I'm going to start with a couple of announcements. Last Wednesday night, we posted Evensong, but we had some technical difficulties, and so we now have an Evensong for May uploaded onto YouTube. So I encourage you to go check that out. Thank you, David and Tamra, for your continued support in your music ministry for CSL. So thank you so much. This coming Wednesday will be book shorts, where I will share some chapters or a chapter or some readings out of a book, a spiritual book. And I told you that it would be the Gifts of Imperfection and by Brenda Brown, but that's not true. I decided to share out of her other book. This is also from Brenda Brown, Braving the Wilderness, The Quest for True Belonging and the Courage to Stand Alone. I was delving deeply into Brenda Brown during this particular focus, and I found a chapter in her book here that I really want to read to you, and it's called Speak Truth to Bullshit, and Be Civil. Speak Truth to Bullshit, Be Civil. And so I'll be sharing that this coming Wednesday on Book Shorts, and I'll upload that and email that to you. Okay? We have a private group on Facebook now called Friends of the Center, where you can go and you can keep in contact with your spiritual people. There, our community, you can share your ideas and stories and prayers, and you can post things yourself. That is Friends of the Center, a private group on Facebook. Thank you to Sophia Paul for setting that up and continuing to make that go for us. So thank you, Sophia, very much. Mwah! Love to you. Also, we have A Course of Love groups are still meeting over Zoom with Karen Floyd. If you want to get in on that, her email address is mskaren, Karen, Floyd, FLOYD, 58@gmail.com. And so I invite you to get in on that. Email Karen, and she'll let you know which group will fit best for you. Thank you, Karen, for continuing that. Mwah, I love you as well. Love all of you. Mwah. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Also, like I said, we have a YouTube channel, and it's called Center for Spiritual Life. So if you are interested in a YouTube from the past, like these other May Sunday services are all on YouTube channels, so you can go there and go back and look at the others if you choose. So I would like to start out our morning with speaking our vision and our mission together. As usual, I will hold this vision up for you so you can speak it with me. Just want to take just a moment and get myself slightly centered here in my heart space, where I'm knowing the oneness of all. We'll speak this together. This center offers a path for awakening to the realization of oneness. Open hearts, inspired life, empowered love. Our spiritual community welcomes all people to embrace oneness as the truth of our being. Together we see a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission? We recognize and realize the omnipresence of divine love as the truth of all. Okay, so we've been focusing on authentic me or authentic you, authentic us, living an authentic life, what that means, how we go about doing that. And I've been basing this whole month on a piece that I read by Mike Robbins. I saw it on Oprah.com. And the piece is called The Power of Authenticity. And he gave 5 key principles to the power of authenticity. So the first week in May, we looked at his first principle of know yourself. The second week, we looked at the second principle was transform your fear. The third week, express yourself. And then today we'll be talking about the fourth principle for living an authentic life, be bold. Okay, so any of those others that you want to visit, you can go back on our YouTube channel and look up the other weeks of the month and see what we had to say about those. I'd like to start out by reading something from Mike Robbins about be bold. Okay. He says, some people may consider themselves bold, but most people I know and work with, myself included, admit that they don't often think of themselves as a bold person. Or if we've done or said bold things in our lives, they seem to be few and far between. And they also seem to scare us half to death. Hence, we often don't find ourselves being bold in life, or not nearly as much as we'd like. Being bold, while scary and challenging for many of us, is essential if we're going to live an authentic life. Boldness is about stepping up and stepping out onto our edge in life, pushing the limits of what we think is possible or appropriate. It's about living, speaking, and acting in ways that are both courageous and true to who we really are. Because we're all unique, our individual versions of boldness will look quite different. Something that might be bold for me may not be so for you, and vice versa. Being bold has to do with us getting in touch with our deepest truths, passions, and desires in life, and then having the courage to live and act out loud in a way that is congruent with this. So as I was researching a little bit, I just kept going on the internet looking for things to share because other people have things and they can say them so eloquently, and I thought, why not share those things? So I found this blog by Erin Liefeld, and so I would like to read what she has to share. How many times have you been advised or advised others to just be yourself? Just do what you feel you need to do. Just do what you truly want to. Just listen to yourself. Just listen to your intuition. The use of the word just in these sentences to me is seriously misleading. When you listen to yourself, be and act as your true self, and make life choices as a result of that, you are living your truest, most authentic life. And that is huge, all capital letters. That does not sit in the same room as the word just, not even on the same planet. To live an authentic life takes a lot of courage. It is brave and it is strong. It is a true act of self-love, self-confidence, self-worth, and trust, because it is ultimately vulnerable. This is why a lot of us find it challenging, and for most of us, it's a journey to get to this place, because we're generally not taught to connect to ourselves and our internal guidance. Nor are we programmed to believe that it is a great thing if we are different or think differently. Generally, we're taught to fit in and be normal. It is irrelevant to me if people think you or I are normal or not, strange or not, odd or not, great or not. What I care about is if you know you are living your best life. Do you feel you're living your best, most authentic, true to yourself life? If your answer to that is no, you're certainly not alone. One of the main things we need to do to get to this living my best life place is to be open and willing to see what beliefs and behaviors are stopping us from listening to ourselves and taking action on what we hear, feel, see, or want to do. Once you establish that you are truly open and willing to see the real stuff that's stopping you, then you can proceed forward. One way to figure out your specific blockages is to look at those around you, or from a distance if you don't have anyone around you who fits this description. Look at those around you who you feel are living their best life. Okay? What do you feel, or what thoughts repeat when you think about or see these people? Okay? Think about somebody who you feel is living their best life. Okay? And then ask yourself these questions. Do you criticize them? Do you think they're showing off because they're always doing things they love? Do you tell yourself they're irresponsible? Do you think in comparison, I'll never get there, or I can't get there? Or dejectedly thinking, that's not for me, even when you want it? These thoughts will show you some of your blockages and stuck beliefs that are keeping you where you don't want to be. Once you see these repeated judgments and blockages, ask yourself, where did this come from? Did mom or dad repeat these phrases? Is it because of an embarrassing incident that happened at school? Why do I believe them? When we truly see what our beliefs and behaviors are, it can be shocking. I remember the first time I realized, after priding myself on being someone who gave so much but never got in return, that toxic martyr syndrome. I realized I had never truly given a thing, that everything I ever had given had strings attached. I was shocked. It's not always an immediate liberation when realizing our stuff. This is okay. This is normal. And actually, you probably need a bit of shocking. Most of us are so stuck in the same monotonous thoughts and beliefs that realizing what they're doing to us and how toxic they are will likely be a part of what gives us the energy to change them. You can't change an issue by doing exactly what you did to create it, right? Being open and willing to seeing your deeper stuff is vital in living an authentic life and is a great place to keep coming back to. Be curious. Be okay to be wrong. Ask questions. Do things differently than you did them before. Admit, I didn't know that. We live in a world that values knowing and those who know. But coming back to being the one who asks the questions allows us to access one of the most beautiful aspects of being a child. We aren't expected to know. Everyone knows we don't know, and that is generally celebrated in children. This lack of expectation helps us learn rapidly as children. The thing is, we have convinced ourselves that we grow out of it. We grow out of this at some point, but this is false. We will never know everything, and the more we try to, the less connected to ourselves we become. What I know for sure is that you have exactly the same potential to live your best life as anyone else. Knowing that what is stopping you is your old programming, habits, behaviors, and beliefs is a big leap. Being open and willing to see your deeper blockages on all levels allows us to live lighter, and working to release them gives us the tools to be different permanently. And all this takes a great deal of courage. It takes courage to live your best, most authentic life. You live with your heart on your sleeve. And while that may sound frightening, it's also the most liberating commitment you'll ever make to yourself. It's a commitment to living in liberation, not fear. Commit yourself to your own liberation. So, I'd like to share now a little bit from a website called intraconnectionscounseling.com because I found there they took a portion out of a video or a movie that is now on Netflix, and it's by Brene Brown, and it's called The Call to Courage. So I went and watched this with my mom on Netflix, and boy, was it fun. Brene Brown is a hoot. She's just so classy and down to earth at the same time, and relatable, and she's a researcher, and you'll find all this out if you watch it. I highly encourage you to watch it. She's a researcher, and she ended up not liking what her own research had to say, and so she came out speaking about it. She researches vulnerability. And so I came across this article online here, and I'd like to share it with you as well. In case you don't know, Brene Brown is an expert in shame and vulnerability. Through her research, she has determined that vulnerability is essential to experiencing joy, authenticity, and connection in life. She also acknowledges that vulnerability has roots in shame, trauma, fear, and pain. Many of us spend time trying to avoid the negative side of vulnerability. But as a result, we sacrifice the beauty of it as well. In The Call to Courage, which is on Netflix right now, Brene Brown points out something that many of us grew up believing to be true. Okay, she points out that what we believe generally to be true is that courage equals a valuable strength. It's a valuable strength to have, courage. And vulnerability tends to be a shameful weakness that we have. Okay, so this article goes on to say, as kids, we saw courage in Disney movies and looked up to adults when they acted strong and brave. We were also rewarded when we acted bravely ourselves. We were told that boys shouldn't cry and girls should do what it takes to be pretty and pleasant. More or less, we received the message that we must mask our true selves, for being truly seen will lead to rejection. Clearly, there's a problem here. How can we be courageous without vulnerable? Brene Brown says we can't. And I love this next quote so much, I wrote it up so you can look at it. Okay? She says true courage comes when we decide to take a risk without knowing the outcome. True courage comes when we decide to take a risk without knowing the outcome. Okay? It means showing up and letting yourself be seen despite the risk. When you show up in this way, you open yourself up to joy and connection. But you can only do it by accepting that there could be pain. Brene closes her talk beautifully with the following statement. Here's the thing. I'm not going to bullshit you. Vulnerability is hard, and it's scary, and it feels dangerous. But it's not as hard, scary, or dangerous as getting to the end of our lives and having to ask ourselves, what if I would have shown up? What if I would have said, I love you? Okay, so I really encourage you to go watch the Netflix. If you can't, it may be on YouTube, but I'm not quite sure, but it probably will be afterwards. But she does have on YouTube, she has a TED Talk about vulnerability. So you could also look up that as well, Brene Brown. So I want to leave you one more thing here, and that is 5 takeaways on vulnerability. And this too is by Brene Brown. So takeaway number 1 on vulnerability is, it is not a sign of weakness. Okay? Despite what some may think, Brown said, vulnerability is our most accurate way to measure courage. And we literally do that as researchers. Vulnerability allows researchers to assess fearlessness, said Brown. We can measure how brave you are by how vulnerable you're willing to be. How about that? Mm-hmm. Number 2, there are many benefits to opening up. Okay. Brown asserts vulnerability is the birthplace of things like love and joy. Highlighting the risks of love, Brown polled the audience. She says, "Are you 100% sure that person will always love you back, will never leave, will never get sick? How many of you have ever buried someone you love? How many of you have lost someone you love?" To love is to be vulnerable, to give someone your heart and say, "I know this could hurt so bad, but I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to be vulnerable and love you." Of joy, Brown said, when we lose our capacity for vulnerability, joy becomes foreboding. It becomes scary to let ourselves feel it. Number 3, being vulnerable at work has advantages as well. Vulnerability was Brown's recommendation for a company with a huge creativity and innovation problem. They wanted to hire her to speak. No vulnerability, no creativity. No tolerance for failure, no innovation. It's that simple, she advised. If you're not willing to fail, you cannot innovate. If you're not willing to build a vulnerable culture, you cannot create. Number 4, vulnerability is inescapable. Brown said even those who think they are avoiding being vulnerable are in fact experiencing the emotion. You do vulnerability knowingly, or vulnerability does you, she said. She explained the importance of openness. It is so much easier to cause pain than feel pain. And people are taking their pain and they're working it out on other people, she said. And when you don't acknowledge your vulnerability, you work your shit out on other people. Stop working your shit out on other people, she says. So, number 5, the choice to embrace exposure is easier in the end. Vulnerability is hard and it's scary. This is a repeat of what in this other one here, but it's great to end with. Vulnerability is hard and it's scary, and it feels dangerous. But it's not as hard, scary, or dangerous as getting to the end of our lives and having to ask ourselves, what if I would have shown up? What if I would have said, I love you? Brown told the crowd, show up, be seen, answer the call to courage, because you're worth it. You're worth being brave. So let's pray now. It's a prayer for a great day by Ernest Holmes. There is in this infinite and wondrous moment in time a divine idea of light that enfolds me completely. I breathe into that lightness, into that lifeness, into that joy unfolding, and I stand fulfilled right where I am. I am one with all that is, as I look around and I see only the good. I look within and behold the beloved that I am in all glory and purpose. I contemplate my day in this serene and expectant attitude. I know that every aspect of the grand and glorious life are seeking to support and fulfill me into manifestation every aspect of clear intention for my life right now. It is with complete confidence that I move throughout my day, experiencing great joy, fulfillment, and a sense of satisfaction. Every interaction and relationship adds to the deeper understanding of life and how I can be more available in my support of myself and others in every way. My interchanges are clear, direct, and loving. My day is filled with shared laughter. I climb to new heights as I follow my heart's desires. I am eternally grateful for the experiences I have and the people I meet. I delight in the celebrations I am a part of and that I help create. I release these words into law, accepting the abundant possibilities of this day to be a day of wonder, joy, and fulfillment in all ways. And so it is, and so I let it be. Okay, so let's see where I am. Now, at this time, I'd like to just give thanks to everyone who has continued to support CSL through your tithes and offerings, financially support our center in this time when we're away from each other. We've gotten so many beautiful gifts and so many beautiful cards and notes and messages from everybody. Thank you so much. I'm going to put up here, if you'd like to send a check, let me move this back, there we go. If you'd like to send a check, you can make the check out to Center for Spiritual Life and send it to 658 Howard Street, Delta, Colorado, 81416. If you'd like to go to tithe with your card, you can visit our website at csldelta.org. And on there, it gives you directions on how to get a hold of somebody to give your card over the phone. So thank you again for all of the support. It is overwhelmingly beautiful, our community, people, how they're supporting each other, how they're supporting the center still. And we will be back in person at some point. I'm just calling this the big pause. And during our big pause, we can continue to reflect in our own being, in our own belief system. Go within and find your wholeness and your completeness and your wisdom and your own master teacher within yourself. And see what you find out. Take this time to do that. We will be back together. We will. So here is our offering affirmation. So let's say it together here. I have a constant flow of prosperity in my life. Okay? Now say it like you mean it. I have a constant flow of prosperity in my life. Now one more time, and let's say am instead of have. We're going to make it real personal. I am a constant flow of prosperity in my life. Think about that. Okay. Prayers. Again, I really encourage you to send a prayer request. We're sending those directly to Lou Kunzelman. She is our licensed practitioner of Science of Mind. And here is her email address. So please don't hesitate to send any kind of a prayer. There's not one too small or too big. Either way, send your prayers, send your concerns, or maybe your excitements. Send those to Lou. Here's her email address. It's Lou Kunzelman, LUKUNZELMAN at Bresnan, BRESNAN.net. Or if you choose, you could also send a prayer request or just a message or a little note, something you'd like to say to me, to the email address c4sldelta@gmail.com. Okay. Also, I want to let you know that there is a prayer-only YouTube on our channel where I have I've recorded just a prayer with music, and so you can use that at your own convenience. I know I had somebody say that they weren't feeling well, and they weren't feeling well enough to even say their own prayer, and so they took that recording and went to sleep listening to that, listening to somebody praying for them. And so please just utilize it however you can, however it might enhance your spiritual practice. It's there for you. So that's on our YouTube channel, Center for Spiritual Life. You can look that up. It's called group prayer on there. Okay. All right. So here we are at the end of the service, and we have our repetitive affirmation. We've been saying this 5 times now, okay? So I'm giving you different ideas to use this repetitive affirmation for you. So the first, here we go. Look at it right there, okay? That's a pretty powerful affirmation right there. So just using it in general for your life. Let's say it the first time. The intelligence of God is at work here. Okay, claim it like you mean it. Globally, what's happening in the world? The intelligence of God is at work here. Okay. Think about my relationships with myself and others, and I say the intelligence of God is at work here. Okay. And then the health of my body and my affairs, the intelligence of God is at work here. Then I'm going to think about my abundance and my well-being, my wealth, and the wealth of the world and the economy. Here we go. The intelligence of God is at work here. Claim this and know this. Feel the vibration. Feel the truth of it in your own body, okay? Embody this truth and let it work for you, okay? All right, so here we are at the end again of a Sunday morning. Thank you so much for tuning in and studying with us this morning, these ideas, these spiritual ideas of living an authentic life and what that means. I hope these have been helpful ideas for you that gives you something to think about and gives you a few resources to look for on the internet or at the library or wherever you get your resources. And remember that your soul is welcome here. Your soul is welcome here. Here at CSL, here on this planet at this time, here in this beautiful present moment right now. Okay, here we are. We're creating ourselves to be the one we love. I'm creating myself to be someone I love to be with by becoming authentic, okay? I'm bringing my new energy forth as a powerful, unique, beneficial presence in this world. Okay, so let your light shine. Let your light shine. And I have a quote by Gabby Bernstein. It says, "Don't be afraid to shine. The world needs your light." Okay? So until next week, love in, breathe, peace out, smile. Thank you. Namaste.